Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian refugees are crossing into Europe in what the UN calls the largest migration crisis in a century. And its politicians have been quick to explain why the EU should take them in.
These women, children and elderly must be welcomed in Europe. Anyone can now perfectly understand the difference between the flow of refugees that is happening now and the invasion of young men of military age and of Muslim origin that have been launched against different borders of Europe in attempt to destabilize and colonize it.
If you're still in doubt, the corporate media dots the I's and crosses the T's.
It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed.
This isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too.
We are in the 21st century. We are in a European city, and we have cruise missile fire as though we were in Iraq.
To put it bluntly, these are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from Ukraine. They're Christians. They're white. They're very similar to us.
They seem so like us. That is what makes it so shocking. Ukraine is a European country. Its people watch Netflix and have Instagram accounts. War is no longer something visited upon impoverished and remote populations.
Surely a little racist for such progressive countries, not to mention the fact that the crisis is at least in part down to the failure of Western diplomacy and foreign policy.
When it's Syrians or Africans on a boat, these countries didn't even try to integrate them. They reject even the chance that anyone brown could assimilate. Your skin is too dark. You couldn't possibly eat borscht.
But this disparity is not only about racism. Ukrainians fleeing violence and heading to the West are refugees, while Ukrainians fleeing violence and heading to Russia to seek refuge are just migrants, apparently second-class citizens, despite looking the same. What about the bombing of Yugoslavia, also a white Christian nation comparable to Ukraine? It was celebrated, not condemned, in large part because NATO itself was the aggressor. Just remember this and compare it to this. Spot the difference? It seems the West is okay with dividing people between those who are worthy and those not worthy. It's not only racism, it's politics, while concern for those forced out of their homes plays second fiddle.